Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros play their final installment in this three-game series in the battle for the Silver Boot. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby and Julia Morales will join us in just a few minutes. Well, the Rangers have certainly turned around the Astros' fortunes. The Astros had won 10 in a row. They'd been averaging 7.6 runs per game, and they have fallen flat with the Rangers pitching this series, Ash.
Coming into this series, it looked really good on paper, favoring the Astros. Paper hasn't played the games, and the Astros find out that anybody can win on the major league level.
Funny how that works. And as we take a look at tonight's starter, Colby Lewis, he ran into problems in Texas against the Astros in our AT&T Rewind.
A right-hander who's had great career success against the Astros. In the second inning, the Astros put 2 runs on the board. Started out by Val Buena's home run. They got a big extra base hit, a triple that caught some chalk down the line for Colby Rasmus, and they were on the move. Marwin Gonzalez played a big part as he doubled and plated a run, and then he would eventually score on the Jake Marisnick bomb. The Astros were able to go on and win this game. A game started by Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel was great, but the Rangers were able to catch the Astros at 4. That was the terrific catch by George Springer to save the ball game. And then Hank Conger came on and pinch hit a home run to win the game ultimately, and it left the Astros 3-3.
Coming up, fight night as the Astros battle it out with the Rangers tonight. Preparations are underway for another big fight at Minute Maid Park this weekend. Julia Morales gives us the details when we come back.
In the third of a 3-game set. That'll be a battle on the field, but there is a huge battle coming up this Saturday night at Minute Maid Park, May 9th. A big fight between Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez and then James Kirkland here with me, who is from Austin. So it's kind of your home area right here. I want to ask you, said it's been a while since you've been in the ring. Why Canelo? Why now?
He's definitely been somebody on my radar for the longest, and foremost, I want to give thanks to God for this opportunity. So without him, none of this is possible. But he's been on my radar for the longest, man. And at this particular moment in this stage, it's perfect. This is what I've been wanting. This is what the boxer has been missing. And so this is my opportunity to make something major happen May 9th.
What can fans expect in this fight?
Oh, man, all they can expect is action, man. They know what I bring to the table when it comes to sport. Any and every fight is one of those crowd policing fights. So I would definitely come out, man, and support.
This is good stuff. It's going to be a great fight. Thank you so much for the time, and good luck this Saturday night. Saturday night, right here at Minute Maid Park. The ring will be right on top of second base. How exciting is that? Don't go anywhere. Round 3 for the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. George Springer, we'll see how he's doing. An update on him when we come back. Springer is out and will be sent home eventually tonight, as he has been evaluated for a concussion all day long, meeting with the doctors as of right now. No diagnosis just yet, though. This is because of the collision he had making a great catch last night. George Springer has one speed. We've seen it all season long in the outfield. Let's take a look at some of his highlights so far this year against the Texas Rangers. The poor Rangers probably can't stand George Springer because of his ability out there. And this is from a couple of nights ago. So much range and so much speed. Like I said, he has only one gear, going 100% at all times. But last night said he couldn't feel the warning track coming up. Runs it to the wall, head hits the wall, obviously. Was dazed, a little shaken up after that, as you can see. Of course, I think A.J. Hinch said he felt like he was in a car wreck, guys. Like I said, we'll probably know more on his condition during the game, and I know you guys are going to want to have more on his ability to make some of those great catches later on.
Well, he has been on the highlights almost nightly with those tremendous plays you just showed us and more. So he's been a terrific defensive factor, in addition to a big contributor who's been hitting third in this lineup. So as Jose Altuve and the Astros take the field, it is with Colby Rasmus in right field, as Julia mentioned. And in left, it's Robbie Grossman tonight. The Astros have lost the first 2 of this series. They have been pretty well stopped by the Rangers starting pitchers. Samuel DeDuno taking the mound tonight as the Astros starter for his second Houston start of the season. Here's the lineup. And the skipper, Jeff Bannister, who grew up here in Houston, has made out his card with the leadoff man, Shin-Soo Choo in right field, Elvis Andrus at shortstop, Prince Fielder the DH, Adrian Beltre at third base, Kyle Blanks at first, Carlos Pagero in left field, Robinson Chirinos the catcher, Adam Rosales at second base, Delino DeShields the center fielder.
Well, the Houston Astros on the mound, 31-year-old right-hander Sam DeDuno, 0-0 on the year, 2.70 the ERA, making just his second start now. And against the Texas Rangers, over his last 3 starts, 0-1 in that span. He's allowed a lot of hits, 26 of them in 15 and 2/3 innings and 14 earned runs in that span. So he's got to tighten up that set of numbers quite a bit for success tonight.
He got a save in his only outing of the season. That was at Texas against the Rangers on April 12th in that 14-inning contest. The one which featured the tremendous Springer catch, robbing the grand slam. Shin-Soo Choo leads it off. Duduno pitching 1 inning in that game for his first professional save. And there's strike 1 here on Choo, a 151 hitter with 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. Duduno went 4 on Friday against Seattle. The Astros won the game 4-3, but he didn't qualify for the win with the 4 innings. Infield playing Choo to pull. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Duduno threw 61 pitches on that occasion, pitching well, giving up 3 hits and 1 run. He is a ground ball pitcher. Floats in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Mike Witters, the crew chief, is the home plate umpire tonight. Duduno, 31 years old, from the Dominican Republic, began his career in the Rockies organization. He's been with the Padres and the Twins. And the Astros picked him up on waivers last August. So currently in their rotation, they have 2 starting pitchers who were claimed on waivers. Colin McHugh, another one of those. Choo has gone 6 for his last 20 with 5 doubles and a homer. And this time he's down on strikes to open the game for Duduno.
That last pitch at 88 miles an hour and diving. Now, I don't know if that's a 2-seam fastball simply with good action, but obviously taking a little bit off and letting it just work toward the ground. Very nice.
Elvis Andrus steps up next. Andrus starting to heat up, and we've seen it in this series. He's gone 3 for 6, a couple of walks and a steal, made an excellent diving play to start a double play. There's a strike to Andrus with a 240 average, 1 homer, 6 runs batted in. He's a 272 career major league hitter. That's a ball to take the count to 1 ball, 1 strike. Andrus, one of the key men in this Ranger lineup. He's 26 years old, from Venezuela, and the type of player who can be well above average for a shortstop offensively, and also very strong on the glove side of play. 2 balls and a strike. The Rangers had not won a series this season until they won last night, clinching a win in this 3-game set by taking the first 2. They'll head for Tampa Bay next, while Ash and Julia and the traveling party of the Astros heads for Anaheim for a 4-game set with the Angels over the weekend.
Had some chilly evenings out in Anaheim.
How chilly are we talking about?
Well, in the 50s. Okay. So we'll see if that continues.
Colin McHugh and Hector Santiago tomorrow night, 8:30 for the pregame show. Now 3 balls, 2 strikes. Duduno has had starting opportunities before in the big leagues. He's made a total of 43 major league starts now, and 80 appearances. In the air outside first base, Carter watches it drift back into the seats. The roof was rolled back about, what, a half an hour before game time, Ash?
About that. They left it covered, let the guys get their workouts in before the game with air conditioning, and then roll it back. And that assumption that everybody likes to do a little baseball in the outdoors.
It has been enjoyable with the roof rolled back most of the games on this homestand. That's a 1-out walk to Andrus.
Defensively for the Astros tonight, behind Mr. Duduno in the outfield. A little different look. Robbie Grossman and left, Jake Marisnick in center, and Colby Rasmus slides to right. On the infield left side, Luis Valbuena and Marwin Gonzalez. On the right side, Jose Altuve and Chris Carter, and Jason Castro back behind the plate.
The infield shifts around for big slugger Prince Fielder. Fielder 2 for 8 with 2 runs batted in this series, hitting .350 this season. Andrus started towards second, and he stopped on ball 1. Elvis 4 for 5 in base stealing. Fielder has shown his ability to hit the ball through the left side and line the ball hard to left field in this series. That's how he's at 350 for the batting average. Lays off there, and it's a 2-ball, no strike count for DeDuno.
For a big power guy, Prince Fielder is very quiet with that front side when he lands.
DeDuno has not defeated the Rangers in his career. 0-1 with a 7.56 ERA in 4 games, 3 as a starter. Fielder looks, it's a strike. It's 2-1.
See on that pitch, but let's look at the previous pitch as well. How Prince lands, and you don't see the hip or the front shoulder flinching at all. Just as quiet as can be, and that sets up for a great opportunity to handle any pitch.
Adrian Beltre's on deck. Runner goes, and the throw, and the tag gets him. Castro to Gonzalez for a caught stealing on Andrus from 2 to 6.
Jason Castro has been making life tough on base runners. There have been some stolen bases, but they've had to earn them, as Castro just continues to put good throws one after another down to second base. Nothing rushed here, just took his time, made a very good effort. You better have a good jump if you're going to beat him right now.
That's the 5th caught stealing in 15 tries for Castro. And a walk with 2 outs. Puts Fielder aboard. Back-to-back walks, bringing up Beltre. Castro with that 33% success rate would be ranking high among catchers these days. Beltre at 219 with 2 homers, has 5 runs batted in. We haven't been checking the catcher's throwing statistics this early in the season, or have you been, Ash?
Oh, I take a peek, and most guys kind of fall in the standard categories for the moment.
Strike to Beltre. He was robbed last night by that tremendous Springer catch. 219, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in for Beltre. 2 for 8 in this series with a pair of doubles. And good numbers, 5 for 10 with 2 homers off DeDuno in his career. Beltre looks at it, and the count runs to 1-1.
Seen some close pitches to the strike zone. No bending yet from Mike Winters. That pitch is callable. I mean, if you get any portion of that ball hitting the strike zone, it's in there.
Smack to shortstop. Gonzalez to Altuve for the force on Fielder. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded. And the Astros come up against Colby Lewis next. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Whataburger. You've never had a club sandwich like this. The Whataburger Honey Mustard Whata Chicken Club, here for a limited time. There's a 0 on the board for the Rangers. Now the Astros come up with this starting lineup for A.J. Hinch. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jose Altuve, the leadoff man at second baseman. Marwin Gonzalez on a 5-game hitting streak at shortstop. Luis Valbuena third base. Evan Gattis DH. Colby Rasmus right field. Chris Carter first base. Jake Marisnick center field. Jason Castro catcher. Robbie Grossman left field. And Colby Lewis, who has a tremendous career set of numbers against the Houston Astros, on the mound. There's strike one for the big right-hander. Altuve has the third best batting average in the American League at .348 with 3 homers and a club high 19 runs batted in. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count from Lewis. Lewis 5-1 with a 1.95 career ERA against the Astros. Altuve tries to get it started after going 0 for 4 last night.
And you see a little more from Colby Lewis on the hill. 35 years of age, 10-year veteran. 1-2 in 5 starts this year. ERA a good one at an even 3, and he's perfect 4-0 in 6 games right here at Minute Maid Park. Great ERA. So yeah, the numbers against the Astros continue to be good no matter where you look.
Roll to shortstop. Andrews, 1 out.
Defensively for these Texas Rangers, in the outfield left to right, Carlos Peguero hammered one last night. Delano DeShields in center, and Shin-Soo Choo in right field. On the infield, the left side features Adrian Beltre at third, Elvis Andrus at short. On the right side, Adam Rosales and Kyle Blanks. And behind the plate, good throwing, Robinson Chirinos.
Lewis looks in. Marwin Gonzalez taking his foothold at .291 with 1 homer. 8 runs batted in. We mentioned a 5-game hitting streak for Marwin. And some additional playing time now with the unfortunate injury to Jed Lowry, who was in the clubhouse before the game tonight. There's ball 1. After surgery on his right thumb, he'll get a cast on that thumb tomorrow, he said. Fouled away, 1 ball, 2 strikes, but Jed was all smiles. The surgery went well. Now it's a matter of waiting for that thumb to heal. Marwin gets the opportunity, or at least the lion's share of the playing time, it would appear, at shortstop, with Jonathan Villar also in the mix. Marwin with that .291 average has gotten off to a nice start this season.
Playing well. He's making the plays at shortstop, doing all you could ask defensively, and swinging the bat well from both sides.
In the air, and that goes back out of play. 1-2 the count. Well, that's a tough sight when a player returns from surgery, and there he is all wrapped up in the clubhouse. Can't play for at least 8 weeks. That's the estimate, maybe longer than that. But the Rangers, of course, have been through a lot of that themselves the last year plus. That's a foul tip strikeout for out number 2.
Good old-fashioned country hardball there, high fastball to get him. Marwin kind of stood around and forced Colby Lewis to stand and stare in before Lewis could finally get his sign and work, and Lewis just came back hard.
Luis Valbuena had a long home run last night in the first inning. He's homered twice in his last 3 games. Best home run start ever for Valbuena, who leads American League third baseman with 7 homers, and also the Astros club. He's driven in 11 with a .211 batting average. Fouls that one back, strike 1. Colby Lewis has not had much run support. His last 3 starts, he's 0-2 despite a 2.78 ERA. A no decision Friday against Oakland despite 6 shutout innings. He left that one with a 3-0 lead, and the bullpen couldn't hold it. No balls, 2 strikes.
Pitches with a nice pace as well.
Yeah. Fastball averages about 88 this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Strike zone looks a little bit tight for the moment.
Now 2-2 to Valbuena. Lewis was a supplemental pick by Texas in the '99 draft. Last year he was 10-14 with a 5.46 ERA in 29 starts. But in the second half, he had a 3.86 ERA last year. Matched up with Dallas Keuchel in that April 12th game at Texas. He gave up 4 earned runs in 7 1/3, including a Valbuena homer and another by Jake Marisnick. But then he retired 14 in a row over one stretch. The Astros last night were retired from the second inning on. 22 straight went down at the end of that game last night. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Wandy Rodriguez took care of 19 in a row, and then Sean Tollefson got the final 3 after the Astros had a Valbuena homer in the first and 2 more hits in the second. They lost it 7-1. Foul tip strikeout, and the string continues for Rangers pitching. They have a 1-2-3 first, and it's no score after.
This helps us get to know Sam Deduno. Let's see what we need to know about Sam Deduno. His favorite player growing up, Kurt Schilling. Craziest job you've had, agricultural engineer. Interesting. And best vacation taken, Disneyland. Well, of course, that's a good one there. We're all getting to know Sam Deduno. We got to know him a little bit last year, but one thing he's done for the club this year is step in to this starting role after being the long relief guy so far this year. And guys, AJ Hinch saying before the game, that's a really difficult role to go from throwing 40 pitches and now being asked to try to throw 80. So this is a difficult spot, but they're hoping to see good things from him, Browning.
Yes, they are. Thanks, Julia. There was strike 1 to Kyle Blanks from Deduno, and we are pleased to be joined by the new Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred. And pleasure to meet you for the first time.
Pleasure to meet you.
Been working for many years. How many years in Major League Baseball?
I've been inside since '98, and I started as an outside lawyer in 1987, so a long time.
Valbuena with a play, number 1, and we understand you grew up a Yankee fan.
I did. I've cured myself of that.
Well, it's great to have you in Houston. You've had a chance to visit with the media. You've talked to both teams today, so it's kind of a whirlwind day, but that's kind of your schedule, isn't it?
Well, I've been doing a lot of traveling. I think it's important right at the beginning. I want to give the players on each of the teams an opportunity to see who I am, listen to me talk about the game a little bit, so that the first time they see me isn't when there's a problem.
So did you grow up aspiring to be Commissioner of Baseball?
You know, I didn't even take the job in Central Baseball aspiring to be Commissioner of Baseball, to tell you the truth.
It's a tough job. Peguero with a drive way out to left center field. He really unloaded. That's another home run in this series for Peguero, and the Rangers grab a 1-0 lead. Well, as you watch games in all these different venues, Commissioner, and the pace of play has picked up this season. That was one of your initiatives. Did you have a list, a to-do list for your first 100 days on the job like a president of the United States?
I did, in fact, have a 100-day list, and I sat down on day 101, looked back at the list, and I was pretty pleased with how much of the list I had managed to get through. I'd hoped to be to all 30 teams by now, but 30 teams is more ambitious than it sounds. It's a lot of flying around.
A lot of travel. Chirinos with a foul ball back. Strike one, and the game has been so healthy for so many years now. Won't it be difficult to improve it?
Well, I think like I do feel fortunate that Commissioner Seelig delivered a really healthy game to me, and not only do you get elected, but you get a healthy game at the same time. It's a nice thing. But I think like any institution, our game needs to continue to evolve and move forward. You can't stay stagnant.
Chirinos takes a look at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. I know one of your big initiatives, I believe, has been, well, we see the Astros community leaders sign out there in the distance, and Jim Crane would be right on the same page with you with building ball fields in inner cities and making sure that all of the folks who have been disadvantaged have a chance to play this sport.
Well, we're really interested in youth participation broadly, but in particular, we've placed an emphasis on providing opportunities in cities where they don't otherwise exist.
And baseball is a little bit more expensive than some of the other sports, and ideally the best athletes would choose to play Major League Baseball, and it is a great living for an athlete, isn't it?
That it is. I think that it's one of the great selling points of our sport, that the economics of being a Major League player are really positive. You have longer career lengths, guaranteed contracts, and we're going to work really hard to continue to try to attract the best athletes.
I, by the way, am among those who are very grateful for the efforts to speed up the game. How you coming in that regard?
Well, I think the best thing that I can say to you is the players continue to be tremendously cooperative with the efforts, and anything you try to accomplish on the field has to begin with the players. And I think they understand why we're doing it, and they have been very helpful. I also think the umpires have shown very good judgment in terms of encouraging people to change habits without being confrontational. One
of the habits I see being changed is by the umpires themselves. The strike zone looks like it's starting to adhere a little bit more to the top and bottom portions of what should be the strike zone.
Well, one of the things that we've worked very hard on over a period of years, this is really not new, the last 4 or 5 years, is trying to get more consistency umpire to umpire in terms of the strike zone.
A shot into left center field. Marisnik over to pick it up, and the throw goes into second base with Figueroa taking third.
You know, after each game we have a technology that provides the umpire with a review of the pitches, where they were in relation to the actual book strike zone. And we think that ongoing training effort has produced more consistency umpire to umpire.
The technology is just staggering in this sport right now. We've been watching StatCasts on the George Springer catches and the Jake Marisnik catches, and now we know how many feet they ran and how many miles per hour they were at their highest point, and it's just incredible what has happened to this sport.
Well, StatCast is a big investment for MLB Advanced Media, but we feel it's really important to engaging young people with the game. There's nothing young people like better than technology, and we feel that it's not a distraction from the game, but it helps people actually understand what's happening in the game better.
We've seen that. It does lead to a greater appreciation of the skills these players have. The Shields with strike one. So many tremendous athletes. Shields tried to bunt his way on and missed. And you know, we've watched Mike Trout now for a number of years, and other younger guys now, believe it or not, have come along and established that they are going to be forces to be reckoned with, and it truly is a sport that a young man can play for a long time, as you said, and be a star for a long time in this sport.
You know, I think you put your finger on something that's really important to the game moving forward. We have a really amazing generation of young players that are coming of age in the game right now. People like Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw, Felix Hernandez, these players that we really need to make an effort that our fans understand what great athletes they are, and maybe equally important, what great human beings most of these guys are.
Is that part of the big effort to get as many kids now involved in not only playing baseball, but coming out to the ballpark and being a part of this game?
Well, you know, it's interesting.
Bueno to Altuve. They got the out at second as run number 2 scored, and the ball popped out of his glove.
It's interesting. The two biggest determinants of whether you're going to be an avid fan as an adult is whether you played the game as a kid, and we've talked about the importance of encouraging participation. But the second one is the age at which you're in the ballpark for the first time. And people are dramatically stronger fans if they get into the ballpark when they're 6, 7, 8 as opposed to 13, 14, 15. And we need to really encourage parents and grandparents to get kids in a ballpark.
Here is Chu, one of the foreign-born players, and there have been many who have come along, especially in the last decade or so. Now more and more Cubans, and different set of rules with the United States and Cuba and their relationships, and this affects Major League Baseball. So you do have a lot in the mix here, don't you?
Well, you know, the issues do seem to get more and more complicated. You know, we see Cuba as an opportunity in terms of talent, but we also see it as an opportunity in terms of our business. So we're hoping to follow the lead of the federal government, and a continued thawing we think will be something good for baseball.
You have talked about having Major League exhibition games in Cuba. Is that on the front burner?
We'd like to be in a position to do something in Cuba either after this season or next spring.
And with the international talent coming in, one of the discussions you're going to be having is about an international draft. Do you see that materializing?
I am an advocate of the international draft. It's a topic that we have to bargain with the Players Association about, but I think there's some appeal to the idea that there should be a single method, whether, you know, it's a domestic draft and a separate international one, or all one draft. Those are details. But I think there's an appeal to the idea that everybody should enter the game the same way.
Also saw that you entertained the notion that baseball could in the future be shortened in terms of games played over a season.
Yeah, there's been some conversation internally about a shortened season. You know, one of the things that people forget about the game because they enjoy engaging with it every single day is we ask our players to go out there 162 times in 183 days. And that's a pretty demanding work schedule. So it is one thing that we're thinking about.
If the schedule were, we'll say, for the sake of argument, to be shortened to 154 games, would the playoffs be expanded?
I really see those as separate issues. I like the playoff format that we have right now. I think the exciting start to it with the one elimination game, the wild card game. But we have a lot of product in October, and I think we need to think that issue through carefully.
Deep drive to left. Robbie Grossman back up against the wall. Now he's going to look at it, and it's going to go in. That's a a two-run homer, and the Rangers lead growing here in the second inning to 4-0 on the long ball. And so the Astros are really behind the 8 ball again tonight, as they were in last night's game.
Just a towering fly ball, and one that initially didn't even give the impression that home run was in the mix. I don't think Shin-Soo Choo at this moment thinks, yeah, I got it. Robbie Grossman just had to continue drifting, and eventually that drift ended.
Number 3 of the year for Choo, making it 4-0. Elvis Andrus is the batter. The exhibition games in Montreal at Olympic Stadium the last couple of years have been wildly successful. And you've been asked about Montreal perhaps getting a team again. But there's a stadium issue. There would have to be a commitment, correct, to build a stadium there?
Yeah, I think that we're really encouraged by the way the exhibition games in Montreal have drawn the last couple of years, and the interest.
Tuve out. Can you stay with us a little bit longer tonight?
Yes, I can stay.
All right, we'll do that when we come back with the score 4-0. broadcast this half inning, but we do appreciate his time. The Rangers lead it with Evan Gattis coming up now in the bottom of the second inning, taking strike one, but we do appreciate his time and his thoughts on the game. Gattis at 194 has 6 homers, 18 runs batted in.
The top of the inning is really going to hurt the Commissioner's ERA.
Line shot to right field. That's in for a hit in front of Chu. And Gattis takes one the other way and becomes the first Astros base runner of the night, to be followed by Rasmus. Still waiting word on George Springer, who was examined this afternoon, and there was to have been an announcement during the game tonight.
How about this? We've seen the long ball starting to come along for Evan Gattis. This kind of hitting, and he continues to handle the high pitch, by the way. That high fastball is not immune to his hack, but going the other way could be a nice sign.
Colby Rasmus and Colby Lewis. There's ball one. 257 for Rasmus, 5 homers, 10 runs batted in. And he plays for the first time in this series. 4 for 11 against the Rangers, 4 for 9 with a homer against the other Colby. Rasmus on one bounce. Rosales with the feed. Andrews the middleman. 4-6-3 double play. Sharply hit. A reminder now, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time. It's later in tonight's game, and it's brought to you by Miller Lite. With 2 outs, it's Chris Carter batting. Carter, a 146 hitter, has 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. So Lewis spotted the early run support. We'll try to parlay this into win number 2 of the season. There is strike one. His career ERA against Houston of 1.95 is 14th best on the all-time list by a pitcher with at least 50 innings against the Astros. And his whip, walks and hits per innings pitched, 0.80 when facing the Astros. Slips the fastball by Carter for a 1-ball 2-strike count.
That's what it felt like to me the last couple of nights. Some fastballs just getting slipped right by. Wandy last night at 88, able to turn that trick.
That is just missing for ball 2. It's 2-2. Ross Detweiler started Monday night. He gave up 1 run in 7 innings. Wandy last night allowed 1 in 8 innings. Set a nice tone for the Ranger pitching staff. Carter has worked the count full. He has 3 homers in his last 12 games, driving in 7. Ranger starters have a 2.71 ERA in their last 13 games. At the start of the game tonight, these 2 starting staffs had identical ERAs for the season of 3.79. That one's back out of play. Still a full count. Well, the Rangers lead the season series from the Astros 3-2. The Astros took 2 of 3 in Arlington. Now the Rangers have turned the tables. They are leading the all-time series by a healthy margin. There's a 2-out walk to Carter. 12th walk of the year to Carter. Jake Marisnick will come up.
Never hurts to see the walks, but I think what everybody associated with the Astros is looking to see right now with Chris Carter and George Springer, Evan Gattis, is some of those fastballs, some of those pitches through the plate that start getting hammered around the ballpark and out of some yards.
Marisnick at 351 has 3 homers. Jake has driven in a dozen. He had an 11-game hitting streak coming into this series, but that was snapped Monday night, and he is looking for his first hit in this series. 0 for 6. And there's strike one. Marisnick has swung the bat well against Texas pitching, going 6 for 17 with a homer, driving in 4. That Colby Lewis whip against the Astros of 0.80 is the best of all time against Houston. Almost hit him. 1-1.
Wow, that's kind of remarkable.
Sure is, considering all the great ones. Resnick 2 for 3 against Colby with that home run in Arlington. Castro's on deck. In for a strike, 1-2. George Springer was watched very carefully overnight. Very sore when he came in today.
Picking away at that down and away corner. Well spotted.
In the air, and the center fielder DeShields breaks over toward right center for the catch to end the Astros second with no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. 4-0 Texas.
Wine tasting and a wine stopper giveaway to the first 500 fans at the event. Partial proceeds will benefit breast cancer research at Houston Methodist Cancer Center. For tickets, visit Astros.com/Grape Escape or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Okay.
Thanks, Julia. May 12th at Minute Maid Park. 6 more days. Prince Fielder leads it off, 4-0 Texas in the third. Inside, ball 1. It's a very short road trip of just 4 games to Anaheim, and the Astros come right back home. They have an off day Monday and swing back into action against the San Francisco Giants.
Short road trip, as you say, Bronny, but you know how every game, every series can turn out so big, and if the Astros can find a way to get this game turned around tonight and get their fortunes going back in that right direction, continue pacing the winning ways in Anaheim, will be very big for the club early here.
Yep. They have not lost 3 in a row yet this year. 2 balls and 1 strike to Fielder. For the Astros, it will be a 9-game homestand starting May 12th. And that Grape Escape Julia told us about. 2 with the Giants Tuesday and Wednesday, 4 with Toronto, and 3 with Oakland on that next homestand. Aduno gets a swing and a miss and strikes out Fielder. There's the way it looks, and then after the Oakland visit wraps up the homestand, the Astros are back out on the road. They go to Detroit.
That's a 4-gamer, I believe, in Detroit.
Okay.
Hopefully things will have warmed a bit.
See, that's 4 in Detroit and 3 in Baltimore on that trip. There's a ball hit to right center field by Beltre. Beltre out of the box, headed for second base. It rolls all the way to the wall. Beltre's going to go around second and hold there as the throw comes back into Marwin Gonzalez. Double number 6 of the season for Beltre.
You're only going to hold this guy down so long. I realize there comes a point in a career where things downturn, but not sure that I see Adrian Beltre being quite there yet. Just a terrific player, offensively and defensively, and I think he's a glue guy on a club. I think he brings guys in a positive way with him.
Now it's Kyle Blanks. Strike one to Blanks. Moved out in the second inning. Figueroa's on deck. Well, a lot of those clouds have moved out of the way now. You see quite a bit of blue sky in the distance over downtown Houston. 1-1 strike. Deduno with his second straight start. Asher Wojciechowski had been optioned back to AAA Fresno, and the Astros plucked Deduno out of the bullpen where he was the long man to make these 2 starts and maybe more. That smash to center field. Marisnick way back, still on the run with his angle there, and he makes the catch on the warning track. Very good catch for out number 2, and Beltre's dancing off third base. Marwin runs the ball back in. Good play, out number 2.
Jake Marisnick can go get him, and Adrian Beltre was keenly aware. Watch Beltre at second base as he takes the read. What's going to happen on this play? Well, the catch is going to be made. That's the way a major league base runner sizes it up. He gets to the bag and easily tags up. But you already know about Jake Marisnick and about this entire outfield for the Astros. They're going to go get some balls.
Very well done. Beltre tagging, went to third. Now it's Figueroa batting. And there's the stop, but the runner's coming. It gets by Castro, and that will allow Beltre to score. And he falls as he scores the run to make it 5-0 Texas. Foul pitch by Deduno.
Well, that 90 feet on the fly ball turns out to be a very big 90 feet, and Jason just couldn't quite get there in time for this yanked breaking ball.
Good quick reaction by Beltre. His foot slipped on home plate, it appeared.
Who waxed the plate?
Figueroa takes, and it's a 1-1 strike count to him. He unloaded that homer last inning. Now hits a ground ball through the left side. There was only one player there because of the shift, and Valbuena wasn't close to it. So Figueroa's 2 for 2 in this game.
Just a quick glimpse. Looks like Figueroa can go the other way pretty well. Yeah, that's the dance floor. Adrian wasn't ready for the dance floor at this time of the evening. And sheepish smile. Yeah, you know he's going to get busted up pretty good in the dugout.
Well, the old nickname Lonnie Smith had might come back into play. Skates. Robinson Chirinos the batter. There's ball 1 to him.
I had a teammate with that nickname, Joe Pittman.
Joe Pittman was, I thought he was Shoes.
There you go. You straighten me up. Here's what it was. He was Shoes, but he had a slippery night.
Okay.
Like that in Philadelphia, and the guys started then calling him Skates. That's what it was. Thanks for straightening me out.
Shoes and Skates. Deep drive will hook and go foul. That is not too far below the railroad tracks up there. 1-1 strike. Last night, Scott Feldman went 3 innings as the starter. Kevin Chapman came in. He worked 3. Josh Fields 2, and Joe Thatcher 1 in relief. And that wind appears to be picking up out toward left field. Pretty strong wind right now.
I'm feeling that played into the Shin-Soo Choo home run.
Yeah. Check swing call goes the Rangers' way. 2 balls and a strike to Chirinos. Well, the media was certainly peppering Rob Manfred with questions during his session, which lasted about 15-20 minutes. The media has always been such an important part of baseball, a daily sport, to get that coverage every single day to the fans, and folks who have not ever had a chance to interview the commissioner, some of them got the chance today, in that group setting anyway. Ground ball and diving Valbuena. It goes up the left field line and deep into the corner. Well, the Rangers will be able to get Figueroa to the plate. The throw comes in and it's 6-0. Chirinos an RBI double.
How can anybody figure out what goes on with streaks for different clubs? The Rangers came in, they were miserable. Things were not going well at all, and the Astros were going the other direction. And now all of a sudden, looks like the Rangers are putting the heat on for a sweep.
Valbuena almost got to it with that headlong dive. Just by him and deep into the corner. The Rangers, who really have been having difficulties scoring runs, are 13th in the American League in runs scored. Last night they got 7 runs on 11 hits after a 2-1 win Monday, and now already 6 runs on 6 hits here in the 3rd inning. Nobody currently warming up in the Astros pen. Brent Strom just made a trip to the mound, and it's Adam Rosales batting. Rosales back in the 2nd inning, single. He looks at ball 1. Guduno might be out there for a while tonight. He did not check his swing on appeal to Mark Wegner. The count goes to 1 ball, 1 strike. 61 pitches so far for Guduno, 36 strikes, 25 balls. And it's in the dirt. 2-1. What are the other options for the rotation? Well, one is that Brett Oberholzer is making his 2nd injury rehab start tonight at AAA Fresno. That game to start later. The numbers from his first AAA start were not very good,
to say the least.
Swing and a miss there, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Adam Rosales. Brad Peacock, of course, is probably weeks away from being able to return to the rotation.
You don't get hits, you get banished to the nether reaches here at the ballpark.
There's a check by Rosales, and it's 3-2 now. And there is, of course, Wojciechowski also.
Pretty good over the top breaking ball, just under the strike zone, maybe.
Jake Buchanan does not have good numbers currently at AAA. That's a foul tip strikeout. Number 3 for Guduno. 2 runs scoring on 3 hits with a man left. In the middle of the 3rd inning, the Rangers are pulling away, even though they do slip every now and then. 6-0. By Andy Anderson. you see some fun there as the youngsters are getting all set to do some eating action. We'll get to that moment in history a little bit later on.
I'm always ready for that moment. And out the invite.
Now the Astros come up trailing by 6. Jason Castro to lead it off. Grossman and Altuve to follow against Colby Lewis, who's been handed this big 6-run lead early. Fly ball over shortstop, and Andrews is pursuing. Figueroa with the catch, 1 out. This moment in history is brought to you by M.D. Anderson. 19-year-old Dwight Gooden made his major league debut in the Astrodome in April of 1984, striking out 5 in 5 innings while picking up his first big league win. But the Stros got revenge on May 6th in the Big Apple with an 8-run third inning and a 10-1 win over the Phenom. Doc recovered to become an All-Star, and he won Rookie of the Year 1984, also finishing second in the NL Cy Young vote.
I'm told I got the first major league hit against Doc Gooden.
That's what we were hearing.
I'm surprised he wasn't banished to the minor leagues for years to come.
Robbie Grossman at 146 has a homer. He just took ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Robbie. And the Astros certainly have a hill to climb in this one, trailing by 6. Out to left center field. Figueroa on the run. That will one-hop the wall. Grossman into second base with hit number 2, and it's a 2-base hit, his second double of the year.
You know, Robbie needs some hits, and a number of Astros bats are looking for getting healthy right now. This looked like a changeup that it looked also to me like you could see a little slowdown in the delivery from Colby Lewis. So if you can get that read as a hitter, it helps you out so much. Nice job by Robbie. Head down right through the baseball.
Now Jose Altuve comes up, and he's the leading hitter for the Astros with men in scoring position. Grounded out to shortstop. Pop up. Chirino's back. And that's out number 2.
Sometimes you get red hot and nobody can get you out, and then suddenly it goes away, and such is the nature of this game. And Jose's dealing with it right now.
Marwin Gonzalez struck out in the first inning. Padres beat the Giants today at AT&T Park in San Francisco 9-1. The Giants had shut out the Padres in the first 2 games of that series. So Bruce Bochy's club has gotten a lot better since those first few days of the season when they might have been the worst club in the majors. They're 500 now, 14-14.
What a job trying to convince a bunch of grown men that it's not 2015, but it's really 2016.
Buena's on deck. Ball 1 for Lewis. Apparently Hunter Pence is not going to be back from his broken arm when the Giants come here, but he'll probably travel with the team, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think he's getting to that stage now where he's doing baseball related stuff.
Unless he's out on an injury rehab assignment then.
Could be.
1 ball, 1 strike. Dave Magadan is the hitting coach right there, closest to the camera. He's a former Astro. He was an outstanding contact hitter. Foul ball by Marwin. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Padres are 15-14 after beating the Giants today. Very big afternoon for Washington's right fielder Bryce Harper, who hit homers his first 3 times to the plate. And the Nationals beat the Marlins 7-5 with Harper driving in 5 of the 7 today. Hit all 3 homers off Tom Kohler, the losing pitcher. Max Scherzer winning it. Drew Storen getting his 8th save. Well, Harper 3 for 4 with 5 runs batted in. Now has 8 home runs, 20 runs batted in. D. Gordon's hitting .430 for Miami. He was 3 for 5 today. .430.
Wow.
Way outside, 2-2.
I would expect about 30 stolen bases already from him with that average.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to check to see how many of those he has. Some dark clouds out there, and then the lighter sky in the distance. Well, he has 12. He's right behind sliding Billy Hamilton, who's the NL leader. Bouncer to first base. Fielded by Blanks for the third out. No runs a hit, and a man left after 3, 6-0 Texas.
Special ticket package starts at just $70 and includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and a lot C parking pass. Sorry about that. Get your Kroger Family 4-pack for Sunday the 17th by visiting Astros.com/value or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS.
DeDuno gets to Shields, 1 unassisted on 1 pitch here in the 4th inning. That took care of that. No throw required. Shields now 0 for 2 in the game, and Chu will be next. Chu hit a 2-run homer in the 2nd inning. He's 1 for 2. Arizona clobbered Colorado at Coors Field today, 13-7 to win for Josh Colmenter. A loser for Tyler Matzik. They had been rained out the previous 2 games. Mark Trumbo hit his 3rd. Aaron Hill, number 2 of the year. I believe it's a doubleheader today. There's ball 1.
They don't play doubleheader anymore in this game, do they?
Boy, you know, only in dire circumstances like this one after a couple of rainouts in a row. Foul ball, 1 strike.
It used to be part of the routine.
Didn't it, though? Well, you know, it used to be just about every Sunday back in the 50s anyway, and before that teams would play 2 games, and then every Monday would be an off day, and that is going back to what Commissioner Manfred was talking about. The schedule was so different. Sure, it's a long day to play the 2 games, but to know that every Monday's a day off, that is totally unlike today's schedule.
Back when men were men and the guys used to, you know, Wilbur Wood. It seems to me like somebody told the story that he pitched both ends of a doubleheader for the White Sox. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sure sounds good.
I think he started both games, yeah. Swing and a miss by Chu. And he's down. That's a punch out, and it's number 4.
Oh, if only we could be that kind of man again.
Ash, those were the days when men were men and women were men.
Well, pitching both ends of a doubleheader, though, that's strong work.
That is. Pretty good chance you won't see that again.
I think so.
But a knuckleballer can do it. Elvis Andrus is 0 for 1 with a walk. Strike to Andrus. You know, when women grew up on the farm,
yeah,
well, there was a lot of physical labor involved.
Hey, are you glad to hear that you're not going to be seeing Jameis Winston on any major league team soon?
Well, it would have been interesting.
That would have been fun.
Did you see the story today about, I believe it's Kevin Murray's son deciding to attend Texas A&M and play baseball and football rather than enter the baseball draft?
Huh. No, I didn't see that story.
Fly ball out to right center. Marisnick cruising over to make it a 1-2-3-4 for Diduno. 6-0 Rangers.
Park. Dominic Susi is with me, Chef Dominic as we like to call him, and we're on the Bud patio right now just in front of 5-7 Grill, and there's a lot of new food items this year at the ballpark. A couple things you can get right there, and you've brought some for us. What do you have?
We did. We brought the Polynesian teriyaki chicken sandwich, and we brought our house-made Nolan Ryan beef brisket egg rolls.
These look fabulous. Tell us a little bit more about what's inside of these egg rolls.
Well, in the egg roll, it's house-smoked Nolan Ryan beef brisket. Then we add Monterey Jack cheese as well as cheddar cheese, some house-made barbecue sauce, wrap them in a wonton wrapper, then we fry them off and we serve them with some barbecue sauce.
What's the feedback? What's everyone saying about this new food?
They're saying it's really, really good. We're really excited about the teriyaki chicken sandwich. We have some pickled carrots on there, a grilled pineapple, a little bit of sesame oil, some teriyaki, some soy, a little bit of miso, and then it's topped with a pepper poison barbecue sauce as well.
I want one of these tater tots. This looks amazing. I know that's not all you have, so throughout the season we'll talk a little bit more about what else you have, but this is great. Guys, I'm about to try this.
Thanks, Julia. We'll see you in about 8 innings. There's the 0-2 pitch to Luis Valbuena. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Valbuena struck out in the first inning, 6-0 Rangers. Colby Lewis gave up a single to Gaddis in the second, a double to Grossman in the third, and 1 walk in this game. Missing there, he goes to a 2-2 count on Valbuena.
I sense a lasting relationship starting out there between Julia and the chef.
Well, that started when he put some food in front of her last year, right, or the year before?
I guess.
Out to left center field, the Shields backing on it, and on the warning track. 1 out. Now the wind has died down. Flags are limp out in center field. It's really changed from a few minutes ago. Evan Gaddis lined a single to right field in the second inning. Cubs lead the Cardinals tonight 3-1 at the end of 3. It's always been a great rivalry. Cardinals are 20-6 this season. The Cubs 13-12. Gaddis smokes another ball to right field. This one will be over Chu, and extra bases on the warning track. Gaddis twice has gone to right field for a single, and now a double tonight. 5th double for Gaddis.
Well, that batting average with this type of stroke is not soon to head back toward the 100s anymore. That's just really nice hitting second time tonight. It's a strong fella with the wood in his hands. And he starts staying on the baseball better like he's done with the 2 at-bats tonight, and he's going to do a lot of good things.
Gaddis is aboard for Colby Rasmus. He hit a sharp one-hopper right at Rosales for a 4-6-3 double play ball in the 2nd inning. Lance Lynn for the Cardinals tonight. John Lester for the Cubs. Anthony Rizzo hit his 5th homer. Strike to Rasmus. Rangers are 10-16. The Astros are 18-9. The Astros have tied their best start through 27 games. They did that twice, in 1980 and 2006. Fouled away. They had won 5 consecutive series. They had swept 3 in a row, and then Texas became a different dynamic. The Rangers now going for a sweep of this 3-game set. The Astros 14-7 against the American League West. They'll come up against the Angels in the next 4, and that will be challenging. Upstairs 1-2. We mentioned tomorrow night Colin McHugh with a 4-0 record opposes Hector Santiago. Friday night it's Roberto Hernandez and Jared Weaver. Weaver's 0-4 with a 6.29 ERA. Saturday night Dallas Keuchel draws Matt Shoemaker, and Sunday it's Scott Feldman and Garrett Richards. Richards threw well in his most recent game. His ERA's at 2.52. Big night last night for former Astros farmhand Carlos Perez, making his major league debut and hitting a walk-off homer for the Angels. And he apparently has come in for more playing time. Manager Mike Scioscia saying that before the game tonight based on what he did. He had another hit before the home run last night.
That could be the perfect opportunity out there.
Angels had designated Drew Butera for assignment, and that gave Perez a chance to come up from AAA.
Well, the Angels just have not had offense from that catching position.
Check swing call goes Rasmus's way, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes for Colby.
Iannetta has had a miserable start with the bat.
Plummer's probably camped outside the stadium right now waiting for you guys.
He's ready to go.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Colby Rasmus. Colby Lewis had 8 walks in 30 innings coming into this game, with a batting average of just .239 against him. In his career he's won 55 and he's lost 60. He's tied with Danny Darwin for 9th place on the all-time Ranger win list. 4-0 at Minute Maid with a 1.10 ERA for 6 starts. Strike 3. Strikeout number 3.
Little backdoor action. Did he get it back there? Yes, he did. Kind of hung it up a little bit, but still found that outside corner. And shopping in the frozen meats department right there.
Chris Carter drew a walk in the 2nd. Something that you always fashion on a day off.
Oh, absolutely.
Strike 1 to Carter. Well, Boods looked it up. Wilbur Wood did start both ends of a doubleheader back in '73, I think it was, Ash.
And no ice was needed after the game.
No, didn't throw hard enough to worry about it. Lefty knuckleballing. 0-2 the count.
I think that was designed to drive their catcher at the time crazy.
Boots wrote me a note that said the ice was for the catcher.
That would be true. Yeah.
Carter's down on strikes. And the throw from Chirinos ends the 4th inning with no runs a hit and a man left through 4, 6-0 Texas.
Dispatches the DH of the Texas Rangers, Prince Fielder. After falling behind 2-0, then he paints at the knees, brings the yacker back, and Uncle Charlie visits for the final send-off right there. Nice over-the-top curveball.
That's over the top right there.
That is. And Uncle Charlie steals those every time he comes over.
One just waiting after the other one is consumed. Prince Fielder wraps a line drive to right field. He jumps all over that first they do no pitch here in the 5th inning for a single to give him a 6-game hitting streak. Fielder has a walk and a single now in 3 trips, and the Rangers have put together a nice offensive plan so far.
So Sam Deduno comes back with the curveball, but hangs it a bit, and maybe waiting for it, maybe just seeing it well. Prince Fielder talked about how quiet that front side has been, and that'll enable you to see the breaking ball well.
Adrian Beltre. How about the footwork on him? There's ball 1.
Well, we saw him dancing earlier. Kind of took him off the dance floor for a moment, but right back on it.
Good family portrait shot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful little girls.
Your kids. Beltre looks at it. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. He doubled and scored in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. 1 homer away from tying Dale Murphy on the all-time list. He just moved past Joe Carter into 55th place. 397. This one over shortstop, out into left center field. A hit. Marisnik picks it up on a hop. Throws toward 3rd, and the runner will hold at 2nd. Fielder. Back-to-back hits by Fielder and Beltre.
How things can turn. Well, the Texas Rangers all of a sudden look formidable with the bats. Wasn't a bad pitch at all, but that's a guy who's been really good at the major league level for a long, long time. And gaps it what normally would be a double, but with that lead runner Prince Fielder and Jake Marisnik moving in that direction, they hold it to a single.
Kyle Blanks bats next. He's 0 for 2. There's a shot by the diving Marwin Gonzalez into left field for a hit, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Deduno is getting close to 80 pitches now. He threw 61 in his last start.
And it looks like activity is about to get going in that Astros bullpen in right center field.
Figueroa is the batter. He has a homer and a single tonight. And Figueroa getting this chance to play left field. Kind of a waiting game for the Rangers until Josh Hamilton can get physically ready to play again. That may take a couple of weeks or so, according to some estimates. There's strike one. Meanwhile, Figueroa gets the opportunity to impress. And that was something he did last night with a 2-run homer in the first inning. As fielder Beltran blanks aboard here in the 5th. 6 runs on 9 hits for the Rangers. No balls, 2 strikes. What will Hamilton do for the Rangers offense? That is a very intriguing question around the Metroplex. He's in extended spring training right now in Arizona. You know it's not going to be dull when the Rangers play the Angels this year. Hamilton front. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, when Hamilton initially went to the Angels, Rangers fans made life very tough on him, so I have a feeling it could get tougher.
They don't meet for quite a while, though.
Oh, that's a shame.
High drive to center field. Marisnik backing on it. All 3 runners are tagging. Now Jake moves over to his right, makes the catch, goes in toward third as the run scores, and everybody moves up a base. Figueroa with a sac fly, and it's now 7-0 Rangers. Fielder scoring. Beltre to third, blanks to second.
Probably a tactical error there by Jake Marisnik, not throwing into second base. Could have held likely. The trail runner blanks at first base.
Chirinos bats.
Yeah, they're just simply getting it done offensively.
Chirinos has a walk and a double. The infield stays back, and there is strike 1. Well, things will swing with these schedules now, and there have been so many games played within the division, but that would not be the case in coming weeks so much at all. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets lead the Orioles 5-1 in New York at Citi Field. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jacob deGrom is keeping the Orioles at bay. It's a shot to left center field, and it goes out all the way to the bullpen wall. They'll score a couple. Chirinos in with a 2-run double. And Texas leads 9-0 now. A.J. Hinch not wanting to go any deeper into his bullpen. He's going to be forced to do so soon. And Strom coming out. 86 pitches here for DeDuno.
Initially, as I saw Brent Strom coming out, I wondered if he was going to be the messenger of doom, but apparently not. So at least 1 more hitter will be faced by DeDuno.
Adam Rosales will be the batter. Well, it's a real dilemma for the Astros here, who do not have a, quote, long man in the bullpen, but Kevin Chapman gave them 3 innings in relief last night. So generally speaking, he would be thought of as unavailable most of the time after a game like that. Chapman threw 46 pitches last night. Josh Fields worked 21 pitches. Joe Thatcher threw a dozen. Both of them would be available generally for a game like this. But you don't want to shoot your bullpen for the Angels series if you're AJ. Altuve into foul territory, reaches out and drops it. So far, not a happy 25th birthday for Jose Altuve. Ruled no play, so no error for Altuve.
I feel like we crossed over into some other dimension here this evening.
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, maybe so. I saw Rod Serling out there getting himself some dogs earlier.
Well, he always did know where to find a bargain. Dollar dogs on Wednesday night here at Minute Maid Park. Bouncer by DeDuno. It goes out to Altuve. And on over first. Chirinos, instead of advancing to third, went back to second. 2 outs.
That was not the greatest read at second base.
No, it was not. Joe Thatcher's moment.
Anticipation that DeDuno was going to make the play, maybe.
DeShields is 0 for 2. Lino hitting 130. That's a Rule 5 pick. The typical saying is he's on scholarship. Well, Jeff Bannister had made it clear earlier this season when DeShields made the club that he would have to carry his own weight, in the sense that Major League Club cannot assign a coach to be with a Rule 5 player all the time, that sort of thing. And he does so by banging that one on the ground into center field. Chirinos to the plate. Marisnick throwing. And run number 10 comes home. DeShields picking up his 3rd RBI on the single.
Well, everything they swing at right now is a hit. And those moments happen. Jason Castro just simply abandoned home plate, knew he didn't have a play, and tried to make sure that DeShields didn't take second base. But with a 10-0 lead, advancing bases right now will not be what the Rangers are trying to do.
10 runs on 11 hits, a 10-0 lead, and that's 5 hits here in this inning. 4 singles and the 2-run double by Chirinos against DeDuno. Now he has reached 90 pitches for the night, and A.J. Hinch will prevent any more. The lefty Thatcher's been warming up. Lefty hitting Chu will be next. Tough night for DeDuno, who had high hopes of staying in this starting rotation, but now it would be surprising if he did after 2 starts. 10-0 the score. Back in a moment.
The moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet.
10-0 Rangers, and a shell-shocked Sam DeDuno watches now. After going 4 2/3 innings, allowing 11 hits and 10 runs so far, and the runner at first is his responsibility. Joe Thatcher takes over. In 10 appearances, his ERA is 2.84. He worked a hitless inning last night in the 7-1 loss and had a couple strikeouts. He threw a dozen pitches last night, and he'll face Shin-Soo Choo, who hit the 2-run homer in the second. He has struck out twice. There's ball 1. The club record for runs allowed in a game was set by Jose Lima in 2012 here at Minute Maid Park. People who were here that season, first year of the ballpark, will remember how that whole thing evolved for Jose Lima, who had been so solid in his games in the Astrodome. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, Lima time got off to a shaky start here.
The ball was jumping that year. The Astros setting a record in the National League at the time for home runs in the season with 249. 1 and 2, and they gave up a bunch as well. Lima gave up somewhere around 50 bombs that year.
Yeah, that would seem to be pretty close to record setting.
Yeah, that was. Struck him out, and Chu is caught looking to end the top of the 5th inning. 4 runs coming home on 5 hits and a man left. 10-0 Texas. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Ten-0 ball game. Colby Lewis working on the shutout, faces Jake Marisnick, who's flying to center. Delivering ball 1.
Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Jake Marisnick is among baseball's best in handling off-speed pitches. It's quite an advancement already for Jake. Yeah, there you go. DJ LeMahieu's been off to a great start for the Rockies. 457 handling the breaking ball. That's really, I would think, considered quality work by Jake.
1 and 2 to Jake. A fabulous start for him. Two balls, 2 strikes. They did 0 4 2/3 innings, allowed 11 hits, 10 earned runs, walking 3, fanning 4, allowing 2 homers, throwing a wild pitch. 90 pitches, 56 for strikes.
By the way, you mentioned the Jose Lima home run total allowed.
Yeah, what was it?
2000 was the year he allowed 48. There's one other pitcher who gave up more in a single season, and he's a Hall of Famer. He's also a broadcaster.
Mr. Don Sutton?
Well, that would be a...
Oh, no, Bert Blyleven.
Bert Blyleven is the guy. Yeah, that surprises me.
Yep.
50 home runs allowed by Bert.
He did.
1986.
Goes to show you, home runs could be overcome.
Yep, certainly.
Castro to left center field. DeShields backing on him. 2 outs. And Grossman will come up.
You know, it's unfortunate about this game of baseball when you're trying your tail off and you're just not succeeding, especially offensively. It can look like the team's flat, not trying. But the honest reality is it's anything but. You're trying so hard, and oftentimes I think baseball people begin to believe you start trying way too hard.
Strike to Grossman. Ground ball goes foul, 0-2. Julia told us earlier before the game that big boxing match would be here Saturday night, and the ring will be out around second base. We were not sure where that ring would be placed until she came up with her report. Canelo Alvarez and James Kirkland Saturday night right here, a big fight. And she did the interview with James Kirkland, a native of Austin. Each has only lost once. Canelo Alvarez's loss was to Floyd Mayweather. 2-2. Tail of the tape, Ash. We'll get everybody ready for that fight here Saturday night.
I gots to know. So 32-1, 44-1-1. Knockouts 28-31 age. Boy, it would appear that Canelo is the younger man, but is he fitter? We shall find out. Both the same height and a little extra reach for Alvarez.
Strike 3 call. Grossman caught looking. Strikeout number 6. And it's 10-0 Rangers after 5.
Goes to work, lefty v lefty against Shin-Soo Choo. Misses away and then evens the count as he kind of pumps one right through there and then finds the outside edge, just a piece of it, and then sweeps that slider in. Got him looking. You see how tough it can be, lefty and lefty going at it.
10-0 ball game. The Rangers lead it. They come up in the 6th inning. Joe Thatcher got the final out of the 5th, striking out Chu looking. Elvis Andrus leads it off in the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 with a walk.
If only we could get the look from the left-hand hitter's eyes facing that slinging slider from a Joe Thatcher.
His eyes might bug out a little bit. There's strike 1. Trying to pick up the baseball from that angle.
You would not want to invite the women and children.
Flared to right field. Colby Rasmus. 1 out. And Fielder will be next. Well, it will be interesting to see where these two teams are the next time they meet. The Astros taking 2 of 3 in Arlington, and the Rangers responding with a strong series here. They were certainly headed in different directions than they are right now. The Rangers reversing their recent fortunes. They will not meet until July 17th here in in a 3-game series at Minute Maid Park.
Where has Mo gone?
Yeah, Mo does move around from team to team, doesn't he?
Does. He's a very disloyal fella.
We're not speaking of Mo Alou either.
No.
Momentum.
You know, I saw Moises Alou's name is now with the San Diego Padres. He's front officing with the Padres. Yes.
Oh, that. One ball, one strike. Jose Altuve, 25 years old today. Happy birthday to one of the outstanding young players in Major League Baseball. As of right now, he's probably not in for an enjoyable birthday flight to Southern California.
Ooh, we got some big names on this day, huh?
George Clooney, Bob Seger in the Silver Bullet Band, Willie Mays,
oh my,
Martin Brodeur.
Wow, you're born on the same day as Willie Mays. You gotta be a star, right?
Yeah,
that's what did it for George Clooney. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, we have another birthday to a longtime Astros fan, June Larkin of Annapolis, Maryland. Happy 75th, June. Willie Mays got some company on the all-time home run list a few days ago from A-Rod, and he welcomed that. Fouled away. The Yankees have been one of the surprise teams. They're atop the AL East with a 17-10 record, leading Tampa Bay by 3 games going into tonight's play.
I don't think any of us would have even taken a guess in that direction.
No, it just seemed, and we saw them a little bit in spring training. CC Sabathia has fallen upon hard times, and then they've had injuries to others on their pitching staff, but they do have a bullpen with a lot of firepower. Fly ball left. Bobby Grossman over. 2 outs. With that pen with Dellin Betances and Andrew Miller. These 2 guys are right near the top in Major League Baseball relievers right now.
That's a unique grip, by the way. That's kind of a looked to me like a no seam grip, where you get the portions of the fingers on the baseball where you're not actually gripping a seam, but you're gripping just on the leather. Is it still horsehide, cowhide? What is it these days?
It's cow. Strike to Beltre.
Crucial difference maker there, by the way. But yeah, that was a little bit unique.
Was that a Vulcan type of grip?
No, the Vulcans did it very differently. We can discuss that some other day.
Okay. Beltre's 2 for 3. No balls and 2 strikes.
They always threw a dead pitch when they would go to the Vulcan grip.
Ground ball goes foul. It's difficult, of course, to pitch in a situation like this. If you're Joe Thatcher, you come to the ballpark hoping that you will be in that game in a very meaningful role, but it does happen. And that's the whole thing about this sport. Unlike others, can't run out the clock. Although some have tried.
Yes.
1 and 2. Interesting to hear the commissioner's take. Rob Manfred with us earlier on pace of play. It's picked up about, what, 8 minutes per game so far this year? Something like that.
I like seeing the positive, but I think there's more to be squeezed out of this turnip.
Well, it's a cooperative venture with the players and the franchise owners to try to make this a more palatable sport. And talk about palatable.
What are you up for right now?
A 1-2-3 inning.
Okay.
I want my 10.
Sounds tasty.
Foul away, 1 and 2. Well, from what you've seen of the speed up measures, what more do you think could be done?
I don't know how strongly enforced hitters are being pressed to stay in the box. I see instances where I think it's not being lived out the way I thought it might, but I would like to see pitchers on the clock. But for the most part, I would have to say pitchers have not been negative culprits that I've seen this year. Now, one area that I think you can definitely help with is when a pitcher gets called in from a bullpen. I would say from the moment he's called in, let the league decide as how do you get the head out that far? How much time to give a guy? If it's 2.5 minutes, so be it. Whatever that figure might be. But from the time you point, that pitcher has that amount of time, and he can either get himself into the mound and throw as many warm-up tosses as he can, or he can delay and get one.
Marisnik way back into center field, way back, and Marisnik will pick it up off the hill. Here's Beltre headed for third, and the throw comes in on a triple. Marisnik with great pursuit. Tried to reach down to the backhand side after a lengthy run. Could not hold it. And it's a triple for Beltre, who has 3 hits tonight.
That's exactly right. And that's what I saw was could not hold it. A great effort. Watch Marisnik get to this ball. And ball in glove just momentarily, and then it comes out. But he was really struggling. Maybe it never got in the glove. It got on the wrist there. He might have overreached. But I'll tell you what, he can go with the best of them, and eventually maybe overrunning what he needed.
Well, that's true. But he had that long run to get there, and it's tough to judge it perfectly. Went on the dead run like that. Now it's Kyle Blanks. Blanks with a drive to center. Caught by Marisnik. No runs a hit. A runner stranded at third. 10-0 Texas.
For Progressive Fan of the Game. Today I am joined by special Mr. Raymond Box here, a huge Astros fan, World War II veteran. How long have you been an Astros fan, Raymond?
Well, ever since they first started. Before the Astros, they were called the Colts.
You were a fan then. I was also told that you were at the infamous game that went 24 innings. It was 1968 between the Astros and the Mets. Do you remember much from that game? 14 innings. You remember no, it's 24 innings, not 14. 24. I'm sure.
Yeah, 24 innings.
Did you stay the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, we stayed. My wife and I stayed there till it was over.
What time did you get home?
Oh, I don't remember now. It must have been 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Woo! Good memories right there. Thank you so much for the time, and thanks for being our Progressive Fan of the Game.
You're a nice young lady.
Thank you. Here you go.
Julia, that game was a 1-0 game, and Norm Miller scored the only run on a wild pitch. Crazy night. Altuve to shortstop. Andrews throws him out. He's 0 for 3 on his 25th birthday. Marwin Gonzalez to follow. Marwin is 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. We checked the numbers of Carlos Correa today, Ash. He had another big game last night.
Well, that's got to push him over, well, last night, okay. Just below 400, I know, is where he was at.
398 for Carlos Correa for 24 games. 6 homers, 28 runs batted in for Correa.
I'll give him 2 cents. Get him to 400.
Boy. Valbuena's on deck. This one goes to right field for Chu. 2 down. And Jeff Luhnow was on a radio show today. Was asked about promoting Correa to AAA, and the Astros farm director Quentin McCracken is watching this week at Corpus Christi, evaluating that, so that could happen soon. He leads the Texas League also, not only in batting average, but in on-base percentage. In runs batted in with 28. And in steals, he has 13 for 13. He's tied for the league lead in steals.
What is it he doesn't do well?
Haven't found it. So, and Jeff Luhnow said that perhaps in the next 2 weeks or so, he would be promoted to AAA Fresno. Strike to Valbuena. And Jeff had said the Texas League is a league made up of only 8 teams, and he wanted to see Carlos the second time around the league facing some pitchers who might make adjustments and pitch him differently and see how that went. So that's, I think, one thing that Quentin McCracken might be doing this week when he watches the Hooks. The Hooks are 15-10. They won that game 6-1 over Midland last night. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Correa was 3 for 4 in the game. And Chris Davinsky, who has an ERA of 0, tossed 4 scoreless innings last night, striking out 6. No runs allowed in 23 innings for Davinsky. Figueroa over toward the left field line to make it a 1-2-3 6th. 10-0 Texas.
Out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details, guys.
Thank you, Julia. 10-0 ball game here. The Rangers lead the Astros. They've out-hit Houston 12-3 with no errors tonight. Pitcher number 3 is in the game. Will Harris coming in from the bullpen. And Harris, the right-hander, takes over after Joe Thatcher win an inning in the 3rd, giving up 1 hit, no runs. 26 straight scoreless appearances since August 19th last year. A 1-0 record this year in 10 games, an ERA of 0 for Will Harris. Carlos Figueroa has had quite a night of it. A homer, a single, and a sac fly for Figueroa. Driving in 2. Harris last pitched in the Seattle series 4 days ago with a hitless inning, striking out the side. He's retired the first batter 8 out of 10 times this year. Figueroa takes a look at that one, and it's another ball. Jonathan Villar is in the game now at second base for Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve wants to play every game this year. And it sounds as if A.J. Hinch is fine with that, but he would like to give him a few innings off here and there. And this gives him the opportunity in a game like this to do exactly that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Will Harris is 30 years old, born right here in Houston. He went to LSU. Drafted in the 9th round by Colorado in 06. Fly ball left field, and that will end the streak. Opposite field home run by Figueroa. He is taking aim on those Landry's Crawford boxes. That's 11-0 now.
Yeah, as a pitcher, probably one of those nights where you don't want to challenge things with a streak on the line.
Quite a streak, though, for Will Harris. 26 straight scoreless appearances, covering 28 2/3 innings since August 19th of last year, and now Figueroa has ended it with his second long ball of the night. Strike to Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos has a walk, a pair of doubles. He's driven in 3 tonight. It's 1-1.
Yeah, there's still a few innings for the Astros hitters to battle away, and the pitchers as well. But likely when it's all said and done, it's one of those nights where you say, forget it, and forget the whole series while you're at it. And let's just go pick it up where we were before and start playing the kind of baseball we know we can play.
1-2. Tampa Bay leads at Boston 4-3. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Chirinos is a strikeout victim.
Tonight's pitching performance is powered by Kubota. So let's take one of those nice moments. Will Harris able to go after recently some San Diego Padres hitters as he extended that streak to 26 consecutive games without being scored upon. Tony Sipp was really good coming out of the bullpen, and he's been good overall. So despite the fact this series has not gone Houston's way, there have been some strong performances.
Adam Rosales looks at strike 1. 1 for 3 with an RBI tonight. One ball, 1 strike count. Mookie Betts hit another homer tonight, number 5 for Boston. He hit 2 last night. Villar lays out for it, gets up and throws, making a sparkling play. Rosales retired, 2 outs thanks to Villar's gem.
Wow, that's quite a play. Last year, when Villar would go after some really tough plays, he'd get his glove to it and the ball didn't stick. This one sticks nicely, and then athletically back to his feet quickly to make the out.
Well done by Villar. 2 down, and it's DeShields batting. Strike 1 to him. He's driven in 2 runs tonight. The Red Sox had a reunion of the '75 Red Sox last night, so it's a big night for Mookie Betts to hit a couple of bombs with the former sluggers like Jim Rice, Carl Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk looking on. Betts looks like quite a player. In for a strike for Harris. 1-2 now for Will. This Astros bullpen had the third lowest ERA in the American League when the night began, 2.16. Shields takes it. That evens the count. 2-2 to Delino to Shields. Atlanta leads the Phillies at 7-4. Braves in the top of the ninth in Atlanta. Phillies are now 10-18. Shields tried to check his swing. The appeal went to first. He is rung up by Mark Wegner. Struck him out. 1 run, 1 hit. Middle of the 7th inning, 11-0 Texas. Well in his career against the Houston Astros, trying to make it a 6-1 lifetime record, and he's lowering that ERA tonight even further from the 1.95 he brought into this game. Well, he got early run support. He got 4 in the 2nd inning, 2 more in the 3rd, and then the Rangers have continued to add on. They had a 4-run 5th, and it's 11-0 as they come up with 3 hits for the night, 2 of those belonging to the current hitter, Evan Gattis. He lined a single to right, and then he doubled over the right fielder's head. Strike 1 to Gattis. Mike Fultonevich started for Atlanta tonight against the Phillies. He went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 4 earned runs. And another former Astro pitcher, Jerome Williams, started for the Phils. He went 4 1/3 and allowed 6 earned runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ryan Howard hit his 5th home run for Philadelphia. Andrelton Simmons, number 2 for Atlanta. Braves have been hanging in there pretty well. They're 13 and 14. To center field, to Shields waiting. 1 out.
At Lowe's, we never stop improving, and neither does Colby Rasmus. Been solid since the start of the last road trip after a rather slow start on the year, but he's had that home run bat working. He's played a really good left field primarily. First 10 games, just a 192 mark. 100 points on top of that over the last 13, and the on-base percentage obviously following suit. The home runs are up, RBIs in that same account, and so there's a guy the Astros could certainly use throughout the course of the season.
Rasmus 0 for 2 tonight. He lines 1 into right field. He roped that one out to Chu. Hit number 4 for the Astros.
He can get out there and hook it. I think he's still looking for that first hit to left field this year.
I believe you're right.
Hands start way out, and then he brings them back to the much more normal position right there as he lands. He'll turn almost everything toward right field.
Chris Carter bats. He's walked and he's struck out. Just 78 pitches for Lewis. Chu comes in for this one to right. 2 down. And Marisnick will follow. Or nope, a pinch hitter, Hank Conger, coming up for Jake. Conger, a former Angel, will try to give the Astros something off the bench here, with Marisnick having been doing an awful lot of running in the outfield this season. He gets a break for the rest of the night after going 0 for 2 in this game. Jason Castro comes out to the on-deck circle with Conger batting. Hank at 227 in 10 games, has 22 at-bats. Ground ball there. Rosales flips on to first to end the Astros 7th inning. No runs a hit and a man stranded. 11-0 Texas through 7. Conger could play the outfield, Ash.
If he's a catcher, he can do anything he wants.
He's the left fielder. The Astros have placed George Springer on the 7-day concussion disabled list. Bobby Grossman moves to right field. Colby Rasmussen center. Outfielder Preston Tucker will be promoted to the Astros, with George Springer going on the 7-day concussion disabled list. Tucker's not on the 40-man roster until tomorrow. Tucker in his last 10 games hit .342 with 4 homers, 12 runs batted in for AAA Fresno. Here's Chu batting now in the 8th. So Preston Tucker, who's been leading the minor leagues in homers and runs batted in, will be a major leaguer tomorrow night in Anaheim.
Somebody's going to have to come off that 40 men.
We have not heard anything about that move. Yeah, you're right. Foul ball by Chu for strike 1. He homered earlier. Now a ground ball into the shift. Marwin Gonzalez tosses him out. 1 down.
Celebrate the Astros' best start since 1986 with a special ticket promotion that offers limited lower level and 200 level seats for 1986 for Monday through Thursday games in the month of May. For more information, visit astros.com/tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Preston Tucker last night had 3 hits, has 10 homers, 32 runs batted in to lead the minors. Jake Smolinski is on deck. Elvis Andrus the batter. There's strike 1 to him. Andrus 0 for 3, walk. Phil Boudreau indicating that there's another way the Astros could get around taking somebody off the 40-man roster to make room for Tucker.
Yeah.
Jed Lowry could be placed on the 60-day disabled list. And it sounds as if he will be out at least that long. And that effectively removes a player from the 40-man roster. So that's another possibility, but we have not heard what the move will be to make room for Tucker.
Well, that sounds pretty logical.
It does. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Lowry's been told 8 to 12 weeks, so 60 days would be the minimum, basically, in that scenario.
And I believe that can be backdated.
Yes.
Still 1-2. Preston Tucker, an outfielder from the University of Florida, has really impressed as he's advanced through the Astros minor league chain. And you and Blummer will get to see him and Julia up close tomorrow night. Bouncer foul. He's a left-hand batter. Let's see who's pitching for the Angels tomorrow night.
Hector Santiago, the lefty.
Yeah, he's a lefty, so not sure if Tucker would be in the lineup for that matchup. Ready, Mike? Upstairs.
Santiago being the only lefty slated to start in that series for the Angels.
Preston Tucker, 24 years old, was born in Tampa. Last year he divided the season between Corpus Christi and Oklahoma City. He hit a total of 24 home runs between those two, driving in 94. Bouncer back to Harris. Tossing to Carter. 2 outs. What a big day for Preston and his family. Last year he hit a pair of home runs to right field in a game here at Minute Maid Park for Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I don't know if you were traveling with the club. We were coming back in that night and had come back in just about the time they were wrapping up that game.
No.
It was the big stir about the bombs he was hitting.
Nice. Jake Smolinski is the pinch hitter now for Prince Fielder. Fielder was 1 for 3 with a walk. He was the DH. Smolinski looks at it. There's a strike to him. 146 his batting average. With a homer, he's driven in 5. He looks at it. Smolinski 1 for 3 with an RBI in this series. Jake's 26 years old. Harris is in his 2nd inning of work. Joe Thatcher win an inning and a 3rd in relief of Samuel Deduno. He drives that one foul. Well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for the Astros. 10 straight wins, now on their way to what would appear to be their 3rd straight loss, trailing 11-0 in the 8th inning. Back, and it's 1-2. You remember being on a particularly streaky team? That 86 club wasn't like that in any way, was it?
I think almost every team is streaky to a degree, and I think if you look back over the course of regular seasons, teams will have their lengthy losing streaks, even good teams, and some version of winning streaks. You don't often see a 10-game winning streak, quite frankly, even with the best of teams. But you will find the 4, 5, 6-game losing streaks over the course of seasons.
1998 Cincinnati Reds won 10 in a row and then turned right around and lost 8 in a row. That is really unusual. Still 2-2 to Smolinski. Tigers lead the White Sox 5-3. They're in the 6th at U.S. Cellular. Alfredo Simon on the mound for Detroit. Victor Martinez hit his first home run of the year off Chris Sale. Sale allowing 5 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings tonight. Connor Gillespie hit his first home. Tigers are 17-10. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baseball is the type of sport, though, that does lend itself to streaks. Rasmus is way over in right center field. Smolinski's down on strikes. That's a 1-2-3-8 for Will Harris. 11-0 Texas.
T-Mobile game changer. How about George Springer with this kind of a defensive gem off the wall? All out. Eric Davis has had those great defensive plays that led to a big injury. What was it, the spleen or?
I believe it was the spleen during the 1990 World Series.
Eric Davis crashing into the wall at Wrigley, and I'm not sure which veteran player he ran into in the ivy there, but.
Did have a lot of range. Jason Castro with ball 1. Castro's 0 for 2. We talked about that last night regarding George Springer crashing into the right field wall, and A.J. Hinch said, give me a player like George Springer every time.
Amen.
Line shot, right field line. It bounces fair and goes into the corner. Castro heads for second base. Chu plays the carom. There's a double for Jason, number 5 of the year.
Well, keep hacking, get some good at bats, and see if you can carry a little bit of momentum individually onto Anaheim and hopefully turn that into some team momentum. Bats have got to get going again.
5 hits tonight. Astros have 12 hits in this series. The Rangers have 13 in this game. Robbie Grossman has a double in 2 trips. Jonathan Villar comes out to the on-deck circle. He's now in the leadoff spot after taking over for Jose Altuve. Pulled, and Rosales is there to field it. On over to Blanks, 1 out. Castro to third base for Villar now. Indians lead the Royals 8-3. They're in the top of the 7th in Kansas City. Carlos Carrasco pitching for Cleveland. The Tribe 9-16. Expectations were high for that team.
You know, we were talking with Art Howe, who had some great Oakland A's teams that he managed, including one that won 20 in a row, and he was talking about a team that eventually went on to win it.
VR gets a line drive hit, drives in a run, and the Astros will not be shut out. 11-1 as VR collects the RBI.
So I guess just talking about Art Howe gets the bats going, but
that doesn't.
Artie mentioned that a team that went on to win their division one year and went over 100 games, well over 100, started at 8-18. So it's tough to tell. You never know, and you just keep having to plug away. Jonathan stays on that little backdoor slider cutter.
Six hits now for Houston. Marwin Gonzalez comes up. He's 0 for 3. Fouls it away. There's strike one. Valbuena on deck. Milwaukee leads the Dodgers 6-2. Bottom of the 7th inning. New skipper Craig Counsell, with the Brewers winning his first game as their manager in a game started by Clayton Kershaw, then lost to Zach Greinke, and now the Brewers have a shot at making it 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. Bouncer slowly hit. Rosales steps on second, throws low to first, and Blanks is able to dig it out for a double play to end the 8th inning, with the Astros getting a run on 2 hits. We move to the 9th, 11-1. By Miller Lite, showing you Adrian Beltre. Adrian Beltre has 3 hits tonight, a double, a single, and a triple for Adrian, and also a slide. He slipped on home plate as he scored that run back in the 3rd inning.
He does everything with style, doesn't he?
What a player. And he's always smiling. He does enjoy what he's doing. And now he has a shot at a cycle. Lefty Tony Sipp coming in for the Astros. Beltre will lead it off in the 9th inning. Home run gives him that cycle. Sipp is 2-0 with a 0.73 ERA. 163 the batting average against this veteran left-hander. Will Harris in 2 innings allowed 1 hit, 1 run with no walks. He struck out 3. Beltre hit for the cycle back in August of 2012 against Minnesota. Alex Rios was the last Ranger to do it. He did it against the Astros in September of 2013. Out to right field. Circling around and coming back in, Robbie Grossman. This is Hank Conger's first ever Major League game playing in the outfield. Don't you know he wants an opportunity to make a play, Ash?
Are you sure?
Well, no, not at all.
That can be a challenge. You know, most guys would not enjoy the chance to go catch. They might in batting practice, something like that, but then you turn it around and take a catcher and put him in the outfield. Maybe he is. Maybe he's thinking, wow, this is great stuff out here.
Strike to Blanks. Blanks is 1 for 4. Figueroa on deck. Did you ever play the outfield, Ash?
I played with a number of sane managers that chose not to stick me out there. I think I did in a spring training game. Played a little bit of third base and first base. I fooled Frank Robinson one year. He was my manager in Cleveland and stuck me in at third base during a spring training game, and I made a web gem. And so then he thought during the regular season he'd stick me down there, and I think Chris Chambliss inside out at a ground ball, just a routine one hopper right to me, and I managed to box it in every way possible. More than 12 donuts were shuffled around on that one.
Blanks looks at it. 1 and 2. Did Robbie have anything to say after that?
Oh yeah, it was sharp and to the point. I'll never make that mistake again.
Tony Sipp himself played the outfield last year. There's a throw from Valbuena. 2 down. Where was that, Arizona?
Yeah, in fact, I think he shuffled around, played some left, might have played some right.
Yeah. Well, Bo Porter wanted to put him back in the game. I believe he removed him after he had pitched and put him in the outfield while he brought in a right-handed reliever. And then he brought him back to the mound to face a left-handed hitter.
I was thinking for a while we were going to have him play every position that night, but it didn't work out.
Figueroa's the batter. He's had a huge night. 2 homers, a single, and a sac fly for Figueroa. How about the left-hand catcher? Do you think there will ever be another one of those again?
Oh, I could see it happening. I see no reason, quite honestly, why a guy can't be left-handed and catch. So if a guy comes along that can hammer from behind the plate and shows that he can play it, I think he'd be given a shot.
Left-handed third baseman is rarely seen, and shortstop, and second base. Foul ball.
Our TXU Energy Power Player of the game. Who do we turn to? Why not this guy, Carlos Figueroa? He's been slamming away here in the series and the game, and utilizing left field quite well to do so. And he breaks up that string. 26 in a row scoreless outings for Will Harris.
3 homers in 2 games for Figueroa. Sipp delivers to him. That's strike 3. That ends the top of the 9th inning with the score 11-1 Rangers. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. 11-1 ball game here at Minute Maid Park, where that Jeff Bagwell bat is. 13 hits to 6 in favor of the Rangers. Rangers going for a sweep of this 3-game series. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Newcomer Spencer Patton is on the mound. He was just promoted from AAA Round Rock on Monday in 8 games there. His ERA was 0.96 last year in 9 games with the Rangers. He had that same ERA, 0.96.
How many years in a row can you come up with that one?
Boy, that's some consistency that every pitcher's looking for, Ash.
I think you could drop him right into the Hall of Fame if he can pull that off.
Colby Lewis in 8 innings allowed the Astros just 6 hits and 1 run. He had 2 double play balls along the way, walked only 1. He fanned 6. And he should be 2-2 pretty soon. Luis Valbuena takes a look at ball 1. Valbuena is 0 for 3. Quite a night for Lewis, who would be 6-1 lifetime against Houston with an ERA well below 2 with his effort tonight with a win. 2 balls, no strikes. Lewis threw 87 pitches, 59 were strikes. Valbuena takes that one, and it's 3-0 for Spencer Patton. He was traded by Kansas City to Texas last July for Jason Frazier. Patton's 27, 24th round draft choice of Kansas City in 2011 from Urbana, Illinois. Valbuena doesn't have to work very hard for that 4-pitch walk. We go to Julia Morales.
Thanks, Brownie. The 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is open, and for the first time ever, it's online only. Vote for your favorite Astros today by visiting astros.com/vote.
Evan Gattis has a couple of hits tonight, a single and a double, both going to right field. Last time up, he skied to center. Colby Rasmus on deck. Inside, ball 1. The Astros have sent out the release on the player move. Preston Tucker will be arriving tomorrow night in Anaheim, and they will announce the corresponding move tomorrow to get him onto the 40-man roster. The line shot out toward the gap in right center to Shields over to Shields. Covers it well. 1 down. Let's take a look at Bam Bam from the University of Florida, Ash.
Bam Bam can slam, huh? Ooh. Wow, he wound up into that one. Watch the hands go back as he... Man. Yes, sir, I can see where some power would be generated by this swing. Wow. Kind of like that golfer that delays the club head until the last instant.
Serious bat speed. Colby Rasmus single to right. He's 1 for 3. Strike 1 for Patton. Ranger bullpen has an ERA of 4.42, next to last in the American League. 3 saves and 9 save opportunities. Rasmus takes it. It's strike 2 to Colby. Ranger pitching in this series has looked outstanding. The Astros got 1 run on 4 hits Monday night, 1 run on 3 hits last night. They have 1 run on 6 hits tonight. Rasmus with the swing and a strikeout, 2 down. The starting pitchers have combined Detweiler 7 innings 1 run, Rodriguez 8 innings 1 run, Lewis 8 innings 1 run for outstanding work in this series. That's 23 innings and 3 earned runs allowed by Ranger starters in this 3-game series. Chris Carter is 0 for 2 with a walk. Hank Conger on deck. Out to right field, hit well. Shue watches this one sail into the bullpen. 2-run homer by Carter. And that's That's number 4 of the season, giving him 10 runs batted in. 11-3 now. And not so fast, says Carter's bat on closing out this game.
Well, if that's what it takes for Chris Carter to get things going, so be it. Bring it in Anaheim.
Two down, and it's Hank Conger now. Conger grounded out earlier. Strike to Conger. Jason Castro comes out to the on-deck circle. His double in the 8th extended his hitting streak to 7 games. Conger looks at that one. Pretty unusual to have both catchers on the roster in the game at the same time. 1-1, but it didn't happen until the 7th inning when Conger pinch hit for Marisnick. For the Astros, their emergency catcher, if they needed one, would be Evan Gattis. He's been a catcher with the Atlanta Braves prior to this season when he hasn't fought at all, even in spring training for the Astros. In for a strike, and that evens a count at 2-2 for Spencer Patton. Wind is picked up again. Foul tip, and that is going to end at a Ranger sweep. An 11-3 win tonight for Texas. Houston getting 2 in the 9th on 1 hit, the Carter home run. But Peguero had the big bat. He hit 2 homers tonight, 3 in the last 2 games. 11-3 Rangers for the 3-game sweep.